This is Nerium, oleander, Petite Pink, and these are about 2 to 3 year old plants. They're sizing wise, I would say these are, the way I space them is about 3.5 to 4 feet on center. I'd say that's how they've spaced this grouping, and expect them to get about 4 feet tall plus or minus. Now this is a good example of what can happen to some oleanders. The problem with Petite Pink in this area where we are, we get a cold winter in the high 20s, and for oleanders they don't love that. The different varieties of the dwarf petite families have variability in their cold hardiness, and this is right on the edge of what they want. If you've got this in a coastal area, you're not going to have this problem. But where it gets cold where we are, the ones that I've used in my residence where they're protected, I don't have this problem, but where they're out and they're exposed, they'll burn back, especially when they're young. And then they go through this recovery period each year. Also, oleanders are kind of known for having some kind of blight that hits them. And I would tell you that I have found that on my Petite Pinks, and that's what you're seeing here. If you see these dead galls and things, look at that branch is kind of distorted. That's what you're looking at. So I don't get that on my little red oleander, but I do get it on the Petite Pink. So I think one needs to consider that, whether you want to have that potential if you use this plant. Make sure you consider that, because we're always looking for long-term solutions for our plant design. And if you get something with potential disease issues, that's probably not your best choice. What I do love about it is obviously the color, really nice clear pink, and blooms over a very long period. Probably in our area you get 6 to 8 months of bloom out of this plant. So hard to beat that. You do want to put it in full sun. I've got one of mine in part shade, and right now there's barely a bloom on it in September, and it's the same time as this that's just totally covered in flowers. So they like full sun. The deer leave this plant alone, so it's reliable in deer areas, and as you probably know about oleanders, they're very drought resistant. So feel comfortable getting these established and then really reining in the water or shutting it off over time, and they can handle that. I think the biggest concern about this plant is its susceptibility to disease and just how that works. I'll tell you this though, I've seen plantings that are 20 years old and you get little bits of this disease on there and they tend to grow out of it. So I still think this is worth using, but if you're going to use it in mass, you got to be careful, because if you get a group of these start to die back, it leaves a pretty serious hole in your design. And a couple of these in this grouping are struggling right now with that. So that's just it. When it's cold like we have, the cold weakens them and they become more susceptible to this. I think if you're in a slightly warmer area, you're probably going to have less of that happening. And that is Petite Pink Nerium oleander.